So welcome to ProfileTree TV, and today we're very excited to join with Nick Lawlor from New Beginning Financial Services, and New Beginning have offices in Dublin and Cork, if I'm right, and you've quite an impressive website, so loads of content and information on your website as well, which attracted us to reach out to yourselves. So Nick, thank you for taking time out to chat to us today, really appreciate it.
No problem.
It'd be great to know a little bit about yourself and your own career path.
Sure, yeah. Well, firstly, thanks for having the chats. Well, I suppose I've been working in the financial services industry for probably around 20 years now, and I kind of entered it very much based on my belief that, when it came to working in any industry, it was important to be able to believe in the stuff that you're doing. So quite quickly, I kind of figured, well, everybody needs a pension, or coverages in Ireland are low. Everybody needs financial stuff. But I think where the disconnect was that the industry as a whole works on a very product sales based incentive sales kind of driven industry, where the reality being that the majority of industries, whether it be a solicitor, whether it be an accountant, whether it be an architect, well, you pay them fees, and what they do then is they work for you, and then they will deliver reports, accounts, or whatever, whether it be conveyancing with the solicitor and so on. But with financial services, it was a little bit different, where the reality being that whether it was in an individual's best interest or not, all roads would lead to a product. So while I learned my trade at a sales focused company, my belief throughout that time, when I entered my own career path, when I became self-employed, my own calling card was to try and offer genuine, impartial financial planning advice. And that was something that, as I became more and more technical in my knowledge through exams and through experience, not all roads need to lead to a product for a client to be better off. So try to move the dial away from products onto financial planning being a service in its own right. And what I mean by that is being able to say, well, let's separate what is a product, because ultimately products are still fine. People need products, but can we just look at a very core offering that's slightly different to here's why you need pensions. Well, and actually look at what your own life goals are. What are the problems that people encounter over the course of their careers that they're not prepared for. So we developed a philosophy of no surprises, and no surprises is our philosophy that says, well, you should absolutely plan for tomorrow, but live for today, and you should never arrive at future financial events and be surprised by the cost of it. So that holds true. If you arrive at kids' education and you are surprised by how much it costs to put your children through college, or if you arrive at retirement and are surprised by how much you're going to need to survive without working and delivering income, if God forbid there was illness or injury, then how are you going to manage? So what we teach now is we develop education programs and solutions for clients around trying to arrive at those future, prepared for that future and surprise.
Amazing. And are you still surprised how many people don't have financial products?
Yeah. I mean, the coverage in Ireland is really poor. I mean, in terms of if we look at any of the segments of financial planning, i.e., the protection stuff, should people be insured? Well, yes, they should be. But it comes at a cost, and the cost is the barrier to why most people would be adequately insured. In terms of retirement planning, I'm a big believer in thinking that age and old are two very, very different things. We need to change our mindset a little bit here, Kieran, because for years people would approach retirement with the view that getting to 65 was this sort of utopian solution where, we'll get to 65 and life will be better when I stop working. But if you think about that, everything that has driven somebody's personality has been their ability to get up every day. Purpose. So getting to an age where all of a sudden they down tools and sit and just have money to survive is not what I would consider a happy retirement. So I believe retirement is in essence choice. So if you can replace the word retirement with choice, then I think we're onto something. And we all, as I say, know somebody who gets to 85 years of age and is still young, but conversely, we also know somebody who gets to 60 years of age and happens to be old. And I think one of the drivers of that is the fact that often when people down tools, they get old quickly because they lose their purpose. So when it comes to financial planning around retirement, I think choice is the key word, because some people will want to work for 2 days, 1 day, 3 days. Will want to continue to have a purpose. But what the financial planning piece does is allow individuals have money to make those choices. So that's really where our philosophy is driven through financial planning, to get to a certain point of time to have the choices to make.
Amazing! What a unique way to look at financial planning. I hadn't thought of it that way. You're actually right, though, making a decision or a choice of how your twilight years of your career I'm actually making a conscious choice, as opposed to waking up one day and thinking, oh, here we are.
Yeah, and this doesn't need to be, unfortunately, this isn't about, being more wealthy. It's just about using your income that you have today in a more structured way. But as I said earlier, it's not about stopping you living today. It's just about planning for tomorrow, but also living for today. And if you get those decisions right, then you avoid those surprises that get people in trouble. Where we all know we go on holiday every year. So don't arrive in June and think, God, I'd love a holiday, and I'm going to take €3,000 off my credit card, and all of a sudden you're going to spend the rest of your playing catch up with yourself. If you just accept that you are going to go on holiday and then just change your mentality around what you do with your money as it comes in every month, you'll squirrel away a little bit of money and you'll get to holiday time, and there will be no stress attached. This would be free money assigned for holidays, and very quickly you go and enjoy your holiday a lot more than having underlying stress attached. So, like financial planning and goal setting and attaching those goals to your monthly budget is what allows individuals get to future financial events with the wherewithal and the means to just comfortably enjoy that time of their life too. So it works. It's a little bit different to just saying to a client or an individual, hey, listen, I think you're short on your life insurance, so here's a new life insurance product. Absolutely, we're not an insurance company, we're not a pension company, we're not a charity either. And the reality is we do absolutely have to use products to achieve those goals. But I think we need to make the distinction between products and what goal-based financial planning is all about.
Amazing, very, very unique, I have to say. No, interesting to hear. So, and I can't help but notice just over your shoulder you've got a banner that says "Employee Financial Wellness."
Yeah. Wonderfully placed, I think you'll agree.
Just to explain what that is.
Yeah, sure. It's probably a follow-on from what I've said so far. I mean, New Beginning Financial Services is an organisation that has a sister company called New Beginning. New Beginning was launched in 2009 by a group of barristers who represent individuals, mortgage holders through the recession, who were having difficult times with banks. So as a result, New Beginning as an organisation, a debt management company, would help individuals who, through no fault of their own in a large number of cases, would find themselves with negative equity, having lost their job and having unsustainable debt. So they might have €300,000 or €400,000 of debt on their house, no job, and fall into arrears. Now, the bank at that stage to the recession, then really this was unprecedented. So sold loans to vulture funds, dealt quite aggressively with individuals. So as a result, New Beginning was set up to try and represent those people. And New Beginning was instrumental in changing the bankruptcy legislation, the legislation in Ireland. And as a result, the landscape now is much prettier. And naturally, with rising house prices, with the recession, with us coming out of the recession, so it started to fix itself, albeit there's still a lot of people in that situation. So New Beginning Financial Services and the guys in New Beginning approached me to set up a financial services or financial planning company to try and help people plan on the other side of this, to try and help them avoid those situations. So when I first joined, the first thing I did was I used to sit in on those meetings to try and get a sense of the type of client. And what overwhelmingly struck me was the fact that there was a massive stress attached to debt. Invariably relationships are broken down, mental health concerns, stresses, not sleeping at night, all because phone was ringing every day from a lender, because financial difficulty had put people in quite a stressful environment, that they, all of a sudden the best laid plans for their lives, whether it be kids, family, relationship, houses, and so on, is falling apart around them. And because of an unexpected financial event, a surprise, you might call it, then all of a sudden this stress and mental health concern rose. So what we did was we tried to stand back from this and say, well, look, wouldn't it have been brilliant if we could actually talk to these individuals before there's not much we can do now, there is some things, but if we could actually deliver our financial planning message to people before these events happen, before these surprises happen, well then we could go a long way to trying to solve them. So what we did was we launched employee financial wellness, all under the banner of between clients who are suffering from mental health concerns on the back of financial issues, and also realizing that we don't teach our kids in school how to manage their money. So the vast majority of employees, whether it be in a tech company or a solicitor's firm or an architect's firm, really didn't know what we knew in terms of trying to manage their money and how to set goals and move forward in their lives. So we joined the dots on this, Kieran. We said, right, well, let's look to see if we can take our belief in no surprises. Let's try and take an education program and actually try and deliver it to companies. Let's do it under the umbrella of wellness, because financial wellness is a core component of employee wellness programs. So as a result, we launched Employee Financial Wellness a couple of years ago, and it's gone from strength to strength, where companies are now paying us a fee to educate their employees financial planning models. We deliver solutions then later, but the reality is this is seminars, clinics, it's going on site with companies to educate them around simple financial planning principles. And it goes down really well, because as you can see from the branding, we try and keep it fun and engaging and light-hearted, and we try and have a little bit of fun with it, but ultimately we try and teach people about tax and savings and insurances, and where the good ones are and where the bad ones are, and yes, so that's gone quite well. And since then we've had an offshoot, which I'm sure we'll come to, which is called the Wellness Crew, but certainly on the financial wellness piece, that's probably our niche,
Amazing. And I just wish I had that kind of a service when I started my career. And you're right, it's amazing it's not in schools. Incredible when you think about it. But I'm just wondering, what's the biggest challenges that you see people face then when they're starting off in their career?
Probably the biggest challenge is that for a young person today, if you think about that demographic, and some of the seminars we do will speak specifically to that early career cohort, the reality for those people is quite simple, that their salaries are probably at the lower end in terms of where they're likely to go over the course of their career. They're also faced with having great earning potential, but not a huge ability to save or to build up any sort of wealth in the early part of the career. They're faced with a situation where rents, specifically in Dublin, are really high. And secondly, mortgage deposit requirements are also quite high. For somebody to buy a property, let's say Dublin as an example, if somebody wants to buy a property in Dublin for €350,000, they're likely to need €35,000 of a deposit straight. So when you're earning entry-level salary values or amounts out of college at 25 or 30 years of age, how do you join those dots? How do you pay rent in Dublin but also save €35,000? And that's a really, really difficult challenge. So it means that people are saving deposits for 5, 6, 7 years as their salary increases when they get into their 30s. But then what happens is that they will take out a 35-year mortgage to make the repayments affordable. And then they're carrying mortgage debt all the way up until they're 65 or 70. So to give you a sense of this, Kieran, I mean, a recent survey had suggested that 4 out of every 10 people will arrive at retirement and still have mortgage debt. So that's a financial planning, really, because now they're going to get to a time when all the stress is going to be, they're going to stop working, but to still have your mortgage payment for another 5 years means that it's not going to match, it's not going to work. So if you look back simply one generation, like what was the situation, for our parents? They probably got married when they were 21, 22, 23 more typically, and they took out a 20-year mortgage. So by the time they got to the mid-40s, that their families were half reared, the mortgages was finished, and then they could concentrate on the second half of life, i.e. retirement and slowing down, and that's now no longer the case. So what is the challenge? Well, the challenge is also for somebody in their 20s to be able to say, what would you say to your 22-year-old self? And trying to give those messages about saying, well, look, I know you're trying to save for a deposit, but maybe, if you did build up a little bit of pension savings now, it will go an awful long way through compounding over the next 4 decades. And to try and build those, trying to give a 22 or 23-year-old those insights to be able to say, well, look, I know they're not very important to you now, but I think we should just have a small nod to some of those mid-career and late-career financial goals. And if we can do that, then it means you'll arrive at those times in a far better place.
Amazing. And you see the current economic climate, is there things that people should be considering or looking at today?
Sure. Well, I mean, what we're seeing quite a lot of is that we're closer now to an employment situation that is much more positive. There's now an awful lot of people who are now moving jobs more frequently for money. So there is an opportunity for people to actually earn quite well in their early and mid-career. Like we're seeing it with some of our client organizations where, people are getting paid very well early in their career. So it does give them that opportunity to get ahead. And I think, where the opportunity lies is for people to take the blinkers off from the high street and realize that investments and alternative types of money other than cash are smart places to be. Because, one of the biggest errors and one of the biggest challenges I think that individuals at an early age will encounter is the fact that they see on the high street bank A, bank B, bank C, and they feel that is where their money should be. But the problem being that, deposit rates are on the floor, income is going up. So to use cash for any sort of short-term goals just doesn't stack up. Where to use investment-based savings and to compound their interest over time is really where their wealth will come from. So wealth accumulation, like to take an average rate of return, over the last 10 years, the S&P 500, the American stock exchange, has delivered 7.9% on average in the last 10 years. Now that's, if I was, that's coming from a recession. So let's look back 20 years. If you look back 20 years, the average return is 5.4. If you look back 30 years, it's back in the 7s. So the average from investing tends to be way higher than cash. So for any of your listeners, I mean, if you can just identify what goals are outside of 5 years, is it house deposit that you want in 8 years? Is it a kid's education fund? Is it retirement? Well, then I think there's a greater risk in using low volatility or low risk money types rather than the higher risk stuff, because over time it's been fairly conclusively proven that that investing and even taking a careful, diversified approach will work. And it's not necessarily important what the value of your money is in 1 year. If your goal is 10 years away, it's about what gives you the to have a possible when that future goal arrives. And I think, for me, I think the missed opportunity is the fact that they still will, on the back of the recession, have a fear about investing.
Amazing, interesting. And you mentioned earlier the wellness crew. You wouldn't mind talking us through what that is?
Yeah, sure. The wellness crew is an offshoot of employee financial wellness. We were promoting and having conversations with HR managers around the country around financial wellness and how it should be a core component of employee wellness programs. And more often than not, what would happen is the HR managers and business owners would say, absolutely, I understand that financial wellness is a core part of what we want to do, but I need to with the yoga person, the mental health person, the nutritionist, we need to do some fitness stuff, and I need to speak with 25 other providers, and we have an X budget, and I don't know how this is going to be divided up amongst them all. We need to know how our wellness program is going to look, and that's going to take them some time. And invariably, the barrier for HR people was that they simply looked and said, well, okay, well, I've got my daytime job, and I also need to organize this. So yes, I get it, but where does it fit? So quite quickly, we saw an opportunity for us to say, well, hang on, from doing books and from being in the industry of wellness and corporate wellness, I had got to know experts across the other 4 pillars, the other 3 pillars. And what we did then was we said, well, look, let's remove that barrier from HR, and let's become the organization that designs programs, but not just on money, on 4 pillars: mind, money, fit, and food. Because all of the programs then that we noticed would fall under those 4 headings. So if you look at any organization, you say, well, yeah, they want to have nutritional demonstrations, they want to have financial workshops and clinics, they certainly want to do some sessions around resilience and sleep and mental health, but they also wanted to have an element of fitness, whether it be a lunchtime mile or a couch to 5K program. So what we did was we built it. And the Wellness Crew, similar branding to Employee Financial Wellness. So the Wellness Crew is in essence a one-stop shop for corporate wellness activities under those 4 pillars: mind, money, fit, and food.
Incredible, amazing. But I guess you're saying that employee wellness is important for businesses then?
Absolutely. And there's probably 2 sides to this. The first side being, does it increase productivity? Does it help employees? And conclusively, that's been proven to be the case, because if you take a room of 100 people, let's say 1,000 people, we know that they are being distracted for one reason or another. Is there stress in their lives? Is there any sort of stress? Now, you might say, well, maybe they should just get on with it and go to work. But the reality is that the workplace of today and of the future is very different to what it was 15, 20, 30 years ago. Employers now recognize that if an employee is stressed in any shape or form, that they're not being the best person that they can be. So how do they help? And this fits all budgets. I mean, it's for people with no budget, for people with small budgets, for people with large budgets. But ultimately, if you take that 1,000 people and you do a genuine, honest, anonymous survey, and you say, well, what is it that stresses you day to day? One might be dealing with the bereavement, another might be dealing with a weight issue, another might be dealing with a financial concern, another might be dealing with a mental health concern. So there is no one thing. We might be losing 4 hours a week because that girl is concerned about her money. Not that you see it day to day, but she is concerned about her money. That person she needs time off because she's dealing with a bereavement. And ultimately, those concerns from an employer perspective are designed to try and say, well, look, as an organization that wants our employees to be productive, then it's important for us to be able to support employees with their stresses. The second side of this is employers do wish to be an employer of choice. So if you take the skepticism away and you say, well, they're trying to make our employees more productive, now let's flip this a little bit. Let's think, well, what type of an organization do companies want to be? Do they want to be the ones with the whips out that are just trying to get the most out of their employees, or do they want to be employers of choice? And as we approach full employment in Ireland, we now have a situation where if you're not offering good benefits, if you don't have a supportive wellness program, if you don't have good pension benefits, if you don't have a robust perks, then ultimately you will lose good employees to your competition. So employers of choice genuinely want to help, but they also want to increase their productivity, and they want to have the best employees working for them. So when you put all of those factors together and you ask companies how they want to support their employees, look, wellness programs are pretty much a core element of nearly every organization's wish list for the year. And more that's happening, Kieran, because if we rewind the clock maybe 25 years, the job and the career of choice was a public sector job. If we look at that, it's a job for life, it has a pension, and you're sorted. So financial security in essence. But that's changed. You know, when the American techs arrived in Ireland, all of a sudden, yeah, you get a pension, but you also get your health insurance, and we're going to give free lunch, and then we're going to have fitness classes whenever you want them. We're going to have a gym on site. We're going to do a social event, and all of a sudden, the money was better. You could move jobs. You have full control of your career as opposed to being in a situation where you might get to your 50s and feel you have no choice. So the future of work is a very different place, and employee wellness is at the very core of where most organizations work.
Amazing. So interesting. How is the wellness crew delivered? Is it online? Is it you have a team that goes to companies? It's a mix.
It's less of a. I mean, we are still very face to face. We still are real people. We have our online presence naturally delivered through a number of medium. We predominantly still deliver face to face. So the range is quite extreme, from seminars, so keynote to seminars, to clinics where we see people individually, to one-to-ones where we have counsellors on site in some organisations who have to deal with sensitive material and so on, all the way up to webinars, e-zines, magazines, running events, fitness on site. We bring bikes to companies, and they do spinning classes. So the range is quite large. Where I think in time we will drive towards more of an online delivery, but still we feel that things like stress and dealing with stress is still quite a personal thing. So we still like that human touch with the wellness crew. So delivery across the 4 pillars, mind, money, fit and food, would cover a range of delivery methods, from seminars all the way to individuals, to classes, to webinars, and online as well. So look, it suits the progression, as you can see, is quite it's quite a natural one from seeing from a financial planning perspective that stress has existed throughout people's lives, to then trying to help them with their money, and then trying to deliver employee wellness programs for budgets of all sizes, for small companies with 8 people all the way up to organizations with 3,000 or 4,000 employees as well.
Oh, amazing. Sounds incredible. Excellent. So how can employers implement changes that really ensure that employee wellness is central to the business or part of what they do?
Well, first and foremost, what we have to look at, that there's a couple of key drivers to that question, or to the answer to that question. Number one is most employers, when we sit down with them at first, sometimes are at a loss because they've tried things and they haven't really worked. Where it's really important that where you might have somebody doing a talk down in room Z at 11 o'clock, that might not appeal to everybody. So let's take a medium-sized organization with 200 people. While they may think that talk that 4 people attended on mental health didn't work, well, it probably worked for those 4 people. But the reason that other people didn't go is because maybe that wasn't the issue that they were dealing with. So that's why it's really important that you don't focus on any one of the pillars. That if you have an organization with 100 people, that you have a program that is mixed between our 4 pillars. So there's probably 20% of the employee population really interested in fitness. But then you have to address what type of fitness. Is it just a couch to 5K? You have a marathon run, like a bit more help with something else? Is there people there who just want to feel that there's a social element? Is there people there who are suffering from, who would like to build resilience, or suffering from bereavement? And how do they implement it? Well, there is a bit of trial and error here. We have to look at what's happened in the past. You have to look at the demographic of an organization. I mean, if you look at a company with an average age of 45 or 50, their interests in wellness activities are very likely to be very different to the organization that average age is 25. So we have to measure employees. So as part of our process, what we would do is we would run an audit with employees where we will measure employees, ask them a series of questions in terms of saying, let's see what answers your employees give, because often HR managers can struggle to say, well, I think this, I and they may not have worked in the past. So it's quite important that, number one, we see what they've done as employees, but we also leverage that against our experiences of what would work in a similar organization. And quite quickly then, you'll get a strong sense of what we feel would work well on site. But secondly, we then trial it and see what, and we then quite quickly change and move depending on what works well and what doesn't, you know.
Amazing, Nick. So I'm learning a lot today, and you know, I as an employer was thinking employee wellness was, you know, one thing, but as I say, I've been educated. There's so much to it. No, it's amazing, and what a service you offer. I can imagine it's very popular. And you mentioned, so you'd normally work with startups, all types of businesses then across Ireland then, yeah?
All types of organizations, yeah. I mean, we work with public sector bodies, we work with the American techs, but we also work with organizations with 10 employees. So for all budgets, I mean, one of the things that some smaller organizations will think is that they can't do this. Well, they can. There's some very simple things you can do to have a presence, whether it's, you know, fruit on site, whether it's a talk every month, water. You know, you don't have to spend big money to have a wellness program. And yeah, look, we can cater for the one-off talk, the keynote, but more and more commonly what we're seeing, and we believe it's the right way to go, is to have a program of events where, you know, as I said, the challenge can be, well, if you put on a talk every 6 months, well, you know, how are you really appealing to all of your people? How do you talk to all of your people if you just do one talk? So it should be 6-5. It should be part of the culture of an organization where they care about their employees, where they can be flexible, where it's not just about running talk or seminar, clinic or a night out. It's about a culture of support. And really what the Wellness Crew tries to do is to try and support those positive cultures and deliver education across those. And we think by doing that, then you'll have happy employees, you'll have employees that will want to stay with their companies, and that builds loyalty. And ultimately, you know what it's like being in a team. If you're in a team environment, a team that wins together, you know, tends to build memories. And that's kind of how we would view business, even in our own organization, that, you know, we want to build a culture of team and support, and the journey that we've come from being a financial broker, so still pension experts, and we're still, you know, financial planning experts, and we still understand our core trade. Our business has grown to try and encompass an awful lot more around, you know, team and wellness and culture, positive cultures in workplaces, you know.
Incredible. So what's the future then? What's the future for employee financial wellness and for your company? What's next?
What's next? Well, it's still quite a young organization. I mean, we're running New Beginning Financial as a financial intermediary, still at the very core. We still run individuals' finances. So we deal with business owners. We help them with their pension schemes. We try and match their financial goals. We still deal a lot of the time with the individual. So that is our core expertise. In terms of financial wellness, it's growing fast. We've had some great successes with it that you'll probably see online if you're looking at our website. And those successes they're making noise in the industry, which is brilliant for a small organization. Some of the larger organizations now are looking to promote financial wellness as a cultural thing. So as an independent and impartial, you know, organization that promotes financial wellness, I think we will go from strength to strength. But where I have noticed some organizations may have initially been resistant to financial being part of their wellness program, it's interesting to see now that the Wellness Crew as an organization is talking to the same client companies, and those companies are now, as part of a program, taking on board financial wellness because it fits so comfortably when the other elements of employees are being built. In quite in quite a short space of time, the two brands, Employee Financial Wellness and Wellness Group, has won some good time. We've ESP, we've LinkedIn, we've RFU, we've Leinster, so we've, what we're doing is working, and it's probably now the challenge for us is to scale that. So we have a network of partners that we use, and we quality control them, and we ensure that our content is being delivered to the same high quality around the country. So our partners then from Sligo, from Cork, from Galway, we get work, we get a job in Galway, we cover that job, and we make sure that the quality is delivered over there. But the challenge will be scale. So, what we will do is we will start, delivering our content digitally, but we always feel that there's a mix that you need to get. You can never move, I feel, 100% digital, simply because I think that removes that personal touch of what wellness is meant to be.
Amazing, Nick. Thank you. So anyone watching this, what's the best way for them to reach you or to find out more about your company?
Sure, yeah. New Beginning Financial Planning is our brokerage. So that's where we match financial goals. We are pension experts, we're planning experts. New Beginning FP, so New Beginning FP, so financial and planning at the end. So newbeginningfp.ie is our brokerage website. Employee Financial Wellness is explained as our financial education program. And you'll get that as employeefinancialwellness.ie. So the name, it's all in the name with that one. So employeefinancialwellness.ie, and the Wellness Crew has its own website, of course, as well, which quite obviously is the wellnesscrew.ie as well. So really, regardless of what the requirement is, if it's simple financial planning requirements, it's New Beginning FP. If it's financial clinics and seminars, on a standalone basis, then probably the Employee Financial Wellness brand is where people can get us. But if an employer is looking for some information or some programs we built around their corporate wellness program, then the wellnesscrew.ie is probably the place to get us.
Amazing. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that. And we'll have all the links to those websites underneath this video, so anyone watching this can click through and see the great work that you and the team are delivering. So again, Nick, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you. Thanks a million.
Brilliant. And thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the chat. Don't forget to check the links below and visit Nick and his team on the various sites and see how your employee financial wellness has been looked after. And very interesting topic and something I'm going to have to think about myself. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you again.